Hey guys, I'm Tyrone and welcome back to Harrison Family Farm. Coming to you again with another awesome video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't mind, leave me a comment down below in the comment section. I know I shared with you guys a few weeks ago that I had thought about further breaking up our dogs, separating our male dog from our two female dogs. As you guys know, I have him currently in a kennel by himself, and I have further pondered upon it. And I think I'm actually going to move him to the opposite side of our house. And the reason for that is just because it kind of just works out for me, and he'll be another way to alert me if there's any activity on this side of the house. I had previously built this structure here with my dad, probably late last year or something like that. And my initial intent was for it to be for chickens. I was gonna do some kind of funky stuff with it where I would be able to have the chickens be in it and then be able to let me turn around so you guys can see. And then I don't know, I don't know what I was gonna do actually, or completely anyway, but it was gonna be something, and it was gonna be for chickens. But I think I've changed my mind, and I'm just gonna use it for a house for him for now. I'll probably close this and make this a smaller opening at some point. I'm not gonna worry about it initially. And I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I actually have already put a roof on it. I did that a bit earlier in the week, just kind of because I already knew that what my plan was or what my thoughts was. And again, I just used some scrap sheets that I had laying around. If you guys recall, this is material from the dog house that the females are gonna have. And then of course, this is remaining material from when I built this thing here. So with that, today I went by, let me see. Went by Lowe's and I picked up a stake. And so this is what I'm going to use to stake them out with. And then I have some cable here that I used to have for Sophie way back in the day, if you guys remember, for those of you who have been rocking with the channel for a minute. And so I'm just going to use that to stake him out over here. I think he'll do well over here. I'm gonna have to clean up a bit, of course, because I don't want him to get into things or get into anything that's going to hurt him. But in general, I think he'll do well. First things first, I'm gonna clean out the little debris that I got remaining in that dog house, and then from there I'm gonna go. Well, actually, I might go get him first, just so he can hang out with me, and then I'll start cleaning up and picking up, and then let him get comfortable. But before I do that, I do need to find out where I am going to put my stake at. And one thing about it, there's a lot of rock and gravel out here, so it might be hard to kind of bite into the dirt at first. But I think I should be all right. I'm thinking right here where I'm standing is going to be good. It's just right here for reference. But yeah, I think this is going to work. So I'm going to get started trying to get that into the ground, get my cables connected, and just have it set up for him. So when I go over here and get him, I can just latch onto his collar, and he'll be good, and he can kind of hang out and do whatever he needs to do. And immediately I'm running into some of that rock that I mentioned, and roots too, to be honest. I think I'm finally in there. Yeah, we're in there. good. All right, so next thing I want to do is kind of gauge my length of how much rope I want to give him. It's definitely not going to be all of what I have here, just because he would get into too much stuff, simply put. But I want to give him, you don't know, 25, 30 feet or so. Maybe, give or take, we'll say. I can always shorten this, extend it later if I decide that it's too long, too short. All right, guys, and the way I'm going to be connecting this to this stake here in the ground is just these. I forget what these things are called, but they're super helpful for this application. And so, yeah, this is what I use. And this one's actually new because I only could find one of my existing ones. So just slip those through there like that. Bring that up like so. Get our nuts started. I want to snuggle him down real good, that way he doesn't pull it, pull the wire through. I think that's gonna do. All right, now that we got things all set up for him, the only thing left to do now is to go get our dog. So I'm gonna grab this old leash I have and go over and get him. I don't know if I'll be able to record that part just because I'll need my hands, but we'll see if I can't get you guys set up maybe somewhere so you can see. Hey, girls. Hey, dude. Ow. Move, Duchess. Down, Duke. Come here. Calm down. Sorry guys, the wind got the best of it, but you see Duke is here with me, and we're gonna go back over there. All right guys, so it is now the next day. I'm just getting my day started, having me some coffee here, and just checking on Duke. He's doing well. He's right there laying down, if you guys see him. And so he had a good first night. And so now that he's situated for the most part, the other thing I want to do while I got a moment is to actually consider moving the goats. I spoke to you guys a couple videos ago about how green is becoming around here. And so with that in mind, it is time that I begin, or at bare minimum, prepping for moving the goats, and just kind of strategizing how I want to move them and where I want to move them to first. And I think what I would like to do is to move to this area over here behind the cow pen, and I'll show you guys this area here where we ran a lot of fence at last year. I'm not going to give them all this area at once, naturally, but it should, I'm going to section off pieces of it and parts of it so that they can keep it down and maintain it for me. You can see we got a lot of wild onion growing. You guys can see that there. A lot of this is wild onion versus actual grass. I don't know how or if the goats are gonna want that, but we'll see. But before I move them over here, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna start to put up insulators for the electrical part of the fence. And that's something that was always planned, and I'm just gonna do it now because it's gonna be part of the infrastructure long term. So my thought is to take a portion of the fence that they're in now, that what do you want to call that, mesh electrical fence that they're in, and kind of make it into an L shape to trap them inside of, not trap them, but contain them inside of this fence, our permanent fence. And I might not be explaining that perfectly, but you'll see as I do it. So first things first, I think what I want to do is create me like what is known as a story stick. And essentially all that's going to do is allow me to determine the height of my insulators. I know that I want to put them at a height, or at heights that's going to be good for the goats for one, and then also good for the cows. So cows, a good height usually is about 36 inches off the ground. Goats is going to be a little bit lower. So I don't know, I might do 6 to 10 inches. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up just to be certain, and then I'm gonna get the insulators installed. Then I'll run some hot wire. I believe I have enough already on hand, and then I'll look at or see about moving the goats themselves. But like I said, first things first, I'm gonna create me a story stick, and what that's gonna do is I'm gonna mark my levels for my insulators, and then that way I'll just be able to go up to a post with my story stick and know exactly where I want to put those insulators, versus having to measure every single time. And so it should help me out as far as the process goes, make it a little bit quicker and easier for me. And sorry guys, I don't know if you can hear my voice, but I am a little bit under the weather, but just trying to push through. I don't know what I have come down with, but it has been kicking my hind parts for the last several days. I actually just got off the phone with my daughter. She said she's experiencing similar symptoms too, so not sure what bug we've caught, but hopefully we both have a speedy recovery. She seems to be doing better, she said. Me, not so much. I don't know if I'm either about the same or maybe even getting a little bit worse, unfortunately. But without further ado, I'm gonna find me a piece of wood or a 2x4 or something, mark it out for the heights, and then get to putting or installing some of these insulators, and I'll check back in. All right guys, so this is the board I come up with to make my storyboard. And so it's just some old PVC trim that I had from a job maybe a couple years ago. It's been sitting down here in the mud. So we're gonna make use of it and repurpose it for what we need today. And so after doing my quick little research on YouTube University, I have come up with, I'm gonna put the lowest wire at 5 inches, and that's right at the height of usually where goats are sniffing at, because like most animals, they use their nose to explore. So when they get up to that fence, sorry for the wind, when they get up to that fence or kind of checking out that fence with their nose, they'll get zapped. And so got a basic square here that I want to use to make a straight line, and I'm just going to mark it out at 5 inches, and then again at 36 like I mentioned before. And so the 5 inches, of course, like I mentioned, is going to be for the cows, and then the 36 is going to be more at the height for the 5 inches is going to be for the goats, and then the 36 is going to be more in line with the cow's nose. So it's my 5 inch right here. Wind's blowing over my tape, and we're going to go right here to 36 inches and make another little mark. Take our square, make a line. Hopefully that shows up. I used a red pencil, so hopefully it shows up for you guys to see as well. And then we'll go here. And so the purpose of this, like I mentioned, is just so I can walk up to my post and quickly identify the heights of where I want that wire at. And that'll allow me to quickly install my insulators versus pulling out my measuring tape every time to measure each post. So now that we got this, I'm gonna go grab some insulators, grab a hammer, and then we'll get to installing the insulators. All right, guys, before we get started, I just kind of wanted to review and show you guys what materials I'll be using. So I'm going to use an all steel wire. This is the same wire I've been using any other time. It's pretty thin wire, but is it steel or aluminum? It's steel, I believe. And so this is what it, oops, there you go. This is what it'll be. And then as far as our insulators, this is what I'll be using. These have a 5-inch standoff. So this part goes to the pole with a a nail that goes through this hole, then attaches to the pole here. The wire goes through here. And so these are all stuff that I've already had. Same with these are the same style and type. And then I also have these, which I have not used yet, but I've had them for a while. As you can see by the bag, I just never used them. They're a little bit different style. You can see how they don't have that kickoff like the other ones do, but essentially the same thing. So I'm going to save these for last in case I run out. I'll start with these just so they can, or I can attempt to keep them all uniform. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what I'll be using. That way, if you need any, you can search it up and find it yourself. This looks to be like a part number or something. I don't know if that comes through. And then here's the one for these here. Right there is what I'm talking about. So yeah, now that I got that, got my insulators, and these actually come with the fasteners, the nails that will be used. They're in the bag here. I don't know, hopefully you guys can see that. But yeah, so they come with nails, they come with the plastic insulators, everything that you'll need. Got my handy dandy hammer here, and I guess we got everything we need so we can get started. All right, guys, so this is our first post. Just gonna take story stick, put it right up against it. There's my line there. I'm gonna mark here on our post for the height, one down below for that height. There's that. So got my nails here, just feed it through here like so. That, then right where that line is, make sure I'm to the front of that post. And I'm gonna start to tap it in. I got it started, and now I can give it a little love. And I do want to make sure it's fairly tight just because I will put a bit of tension on it. And so I want to go ahead and drive it. Seems to be pretty good. Repeat the process for the top one. Right about there. And I do turn these a bit when I'm installing, just so I can manipulate it to get a good height, a good hit with my hammer. It's pretty good. So one down, a lot more to go. So I'm just gonna repeat this process and get them all installed. All right, guys, so we have our insulators installed on all of our posts. You can see, hope all that yellow comes through, and even back up here. All the way around. Stopped a little bit behind this tree here, just because I don't plan to give the goats at this time any more access immediately anyway than what I've covered. And I ran out of the particular insulator, the 5-inch kick out ones. And so, oops, sorry. So yeah, so that should do it. I'm gonna go ahead and go grab that steel wire I mentioned before and start running it installed real quick. So we're here at our first insulator, and here's our spool. Just take that, and I'm gonna want to tie some type of knot here, just so, let me see, just so I can pull against it, because I want to keep my hot wire as tight as possible and wrap it up against itself. So that should hold, and then I'm gonna roll it out to the next one, pulling it again as tight as I can, and I'll probably either knot it or wrap it at each insulator. That way I can make sure it's pulled pretty tight. And so here we, almost fell. Here we are, oops, here we are at our second one. See if I can get you guys steady. Sorry, the camera's wanting to follow me. But again, I want to pull it as tight as I can. So the wire is going to feed under that hook into this one. Looks fairly good. And I'm going to just double wrap it around. And then on to the next one. So I'm going to repeat this process, and I'll check in with you guys when I'm done. All right, guys, so the wire is ran. You can see it there, also down here below. So I got to ran the entire perimeter for the area that I plan to enclose the goats in. And like I mentioned, I can already see, hold on. Like I said, I can already see certain areas are going to be problematic just because of the terrain on the ground. It's not flat. I got some high points. So again, I'm going to put in some supplemental posts at some point to prevent the fence from grounding out. And I'll probably connect the fence and let the popping noise of it grounding out lead me to where I need to put those posts, and hopefully I have enough. But yeah, so that part's done. Like I said, I got to figure out where I need to put those supplemental posts, and then I need to really just get the goats at this point. Another thing I'm thinking, or not thinking about doing, I'm in the process of doing, is adding a barbed wire at the top of this fence. I've started right here. I'll show you if that comes through. I know it's kind of small, but started here. I've only made it to the next post. Didn't do that today. It's just something I thought about and am going to continue to do. Not so much worried about it. That's why I stopped in this area, just because this piece of wood is higher than the fence, so I think that's a deterrent enough. Same with right here. I think that's going to be high enough to deter the goats or even the cows. But right along here and on, I might run that barbed wire. Probably not today, but just saying things I plan to do in the future. And we'll see how the goats do. So I'm going to kind of start to prepare to get them over here. And yeah, kind of go from there. I didn't mention it before, but I'm planning to connect. The way I'm going to energize this fence is we're right here by the cow's pen. As you see Beyonce right there. So I'm just going to connect to the existing hot wire that is right there. And that's going to energize this space right here. And so yeah, I'm going to go try to wrangle the goats together, get their fence all wrapped up and whatnot, and then get the fence installed over here, and then move the goats over here as well. Not altogether sure of how I want to wrangle them. One thought is to put the dogs, the 2 female dogs that are remaining over there, into that dog kennel, and then put the goats into their fence, their electric mesh fence, while I take up the goats mesh fence, if that makes sense. And then bring them over and then release the dogs. So we'll see how we'll go about it, but that's what's next on the agenda. So I was thinking as I'm going over here to get the goats, it might be easier for me just to put the goats in that pen versus putting the dogs in there. Just because the dog's electric mesh fence is not a lot, but it is shorter than the goat ones. And so I don't want to run the risk of them jumping out. So I might just put them in the pen that Duke was previously in, and then leave the girls out. So yeah, and just for reference, the pen here. Oh, I didn't realize I was so pen. Sorry, but yeah, in that pen there, and then leave the dogs where they are. So first things, sorry for the wind. First things first, I'm gonna disconnect the fence so I don't get shocked, and then we'll get to putting the goats in there. Hey girls. That's one. Move. Hey, buddy. Move. Sorry guys, the wind is something else today, but as you see, both goats are in there. So now now I'm gonna work on getting their fence taken up. Like I said, this fence is a lot shorter than the other one. And so this is the goat's fence here. And so this is what I'm going to be taking up to move over there where we just installed that hot wire. Sorry about that guys, but as you can see, it didn't take me long. I got the fence down. There it is on the ground. Now I'm gonna just wrangle it up, take it to our new destination, and get it set up over there. All right guys, I got my fence over here. And so I'm about to get set up, and I was just kind of thinking to myself, or mapping out to myself, how I want to lay the fence out. And I think what I'm going to do is make use of my existing gate here, and put this net fence starting at this post, and just make an L shape going straight this way. And I'm gonna come around, make a right angle or a corner, whichever, and go straight to one of our posts over there. So that would give them the interior of that area there to graze in and forage in, or whatever the case may be. I think that should be plenty for them to start, and then afterwards I'll give them the back half when they finish this. And so cool thing about this, they'll have stuff like these logs and stuff to play on. Goats are pretty active and they like to jump and climb on things, so that'll be fun for them. And so yeah, I'm just gonna get the fence set up how I want it, and I'm probably gonna have some fence left over, just because I don't know that this will take up this entire mesh fence. So we'll see how we solve for that in the end as far as the remaining fence. But that's my plan, and now all we got to do is execute. This, you know, just FYI, this space right here is open, and it's just because I got this T-post bent back where this fencing was, so I can get the tractor through it at one point in time But I'm gonna install it back in the ground. That way I have a actual fence, not a fence, but a gate here, so I can get into the gate, get in here with the goats if need be, at least for this moment anyway, while they're in this area. So yeah, I'm gonna get this fence set up real quick. Maybe I'll go backwards. All right, guys, so I've gotten the fence laid out pretty much where I want it. And now I'm just gonna go back and add those posts that I mentioned to you guys before. And just so you know what I'm talking about, I just mean these step-in posts here. These are white. I got some yellow ones as well. And then there's the fence. I don't know if it comes through, but yeah, got it laid out. Now I'm gonna erect it with those posts, and then we'll be just about ready for the goats. I still need to bring them some water over here, bring their house over here. Still got to put this pole on the ground. So just a few little things I need to do still before I bring them over, but we're making progress. So without further ado, we get these in, get the fence set up, and keep trucking. Come on, buddy. Come on.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain.
There we have it, guys. We got the goats where we wanted them. Zoom in a bit. There's the female, there's the male, they're inside. And doing well. Getting right to the job at hand, and I couldn't be happier. Well, guys, that's going to do it for me today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this weekend. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, peace.